Greetings. Welcome to second episode of Phi Hour. Before I begin, I want to be clear that this story was originally told by Kun To on the Ghost Radio around 2 years ago. The events you're about to hear are things that happened to him personally. In this retelling, I'll refer to him as Kun To. And while I won't follow the original wording exactly, the story itself remains the same. Kun To runs a business dealing with silk. He also personally drives a 6-wheel truck for his company, transporting goods, mainly silk, between different locations. One day, he had to travel to another province to pick up material from a company. The destination was quite far. Being someone with a business mindset, he thought, since he already had to make the trip, if anyone needed to transport large items along the way, he could take them too and charge an additional delivery fee. So he made a post on Facebook, stating where he was going and which route he would be taking. Not long after, someone contacted him. An older man. This man wanted Kun To to transport a large grandfather's clock. Imagine a standing clock about 2 meters tall. A very large piece, heavy, with built-in compartments and drawers that could store things inside. The delivery location wasn't exactly on Kun To's route, but it was only about 50 kilometers off. Compared to the large inter-province journey, that wasn't much. If he could earn an extra 2,000 to 3,000 baht, it would be easily cover his fuel. So he agreed. Before accepting, To asked the man, "Is there anything inside the clock?" The man replied briefly, "No, don't mess with it." What was strange was the way he referred to the clock. It sounded like he was talking about a person. Then the man handed him a map and an envelope, saying, "Take it. This is for your time." At the moment, To wasn't worried about ghosts. He was worried there might be something illegal inside. But when he opened the envelope, he saw 15,000 baht, an unusually large amount. So he asked again, "There's really nothing inside, right?" The man replied, "There are only some holy book inside." Even though the man never opened the clock to show him, To chose not to ask further. Before the trip, his close friend Mui asked to come along. Mui had been his friend since childhood and also worked for him. However, Mui had once been in a serious accident and had undergone brain surgery, which left him a bit different from most people. He was slower in thinking and had less restraint, but he was still a close friend, so To agreed to let him come along. As they began the journey, To turned on the ghost radio and listened while driving. They drove on until they reached a mountain road. As they went higher, the radio signal began to weaken until it disappeared completely. The truck was left in silence. After a while, as they were approaching a shrine, Moin, who had been quiet the entire time, suddenly spoke. "How did people back then know the child spirit liked red soda?" For Thai people, saying something like that, joking about spirits, especially in a dark and quiet place at night, is considered inappropriate. At the moment, it was around 9:30 p.m., almost 10. They were entering a sacred area. Though didn't know how to respond. Less than a minute later, the truck's engine temperature warning went off. Because it was a heavy vehicle climbing uphill, it needed to stop and cool down. So Tho pulled over and opened the hood. The road was still steep, so he told Mui to find something to block the views. When he looked around carefully, he realized something. They had stopped right in front of the shrine, less than 2 meters away. Mui got out of the truck and immediately caused trouble. He went and sat on a small elephant statue near the shrine. And for us Thai people, that's extremely disrespectful. Tho quickly scolded him and told him to go find something to block the wheel instead. Eventually, Mui did as he was told. Because the engine was hot and the air around then was cold, a light mist formed at the front of the truck. After waiting for a while, Tho didn't want to stay there any longer. He called Mui back into the truck. Mui ran back quickly, afraid of being left behind. Tho started the engine, stepped on the clutch, and slowly reversed. Then, he heard a sound, like the truck ran over something. He asked, "Didn't you remove what you used to block the wheel?" Mui didn't respond. He simply turned and smiled. As Tho was about to drive off, he noticed something unusual. On the fogged windshield, there were small handprints, like the hand of a child. That shouldn't have been possible. There was no one else around, only him and Mui. As they continued driving, Mui started acting strangely. He raised both hands, one hand showing 5 fingers, the other showing 2. Tho asked, "What are you doing?" Mui replied, "I'm counting how many times I've seen this woman." That was not something anyone would want to hear. Tho didn't ask anything further, but he keeps glancing at Mui's hand. 7, then 8. Mui leaned forward slightly, looking into the mirror and said, "Don't try to scare me. I'm not afraid of you. Go scare someone else." At that moment, as Tho continued driving, he looked into the side mirror, something he always does as a truck driver. And that's when he saw it. A woman clinging to the metal frame on the side of the truck. He tried to stay calm and not look, but instinct forced him to look again. This time, she was closer. He could see her clearly, her mouth wide open, her tongue hanging out, flapping violently in the wind. And around her neck, a child, clinging tightly. Like a mother and a child, they were slowly crawling forward from the side of the truck towards the front. Every time the truck passed under a street light, she got closer, closer, and closer. Tho couldn't look away. Then suddenly, there was a loud bang from behind the truck. And what he saw next was a foot kicking the woman's head hard enough to knock her off the truck completely. Tho was completely shaken. "What else is in my truck?" He admitted that at the moment he had already lost control of his bladder. In that same split second, when he finally looked back at the road, there was a sharp curve ahead. If he hadn't looked forward in time, he would have driven straight off the mountain. After passing that point, Tho stopped at the gas station. He asked Mui, "You saw that too, right?" Mui replied, "I saw everything. I'm not scared. I'll just make merit for them later." The next morning, Tho hurried to deliver the clock. The destination was a temple, an old temple located beside a major river. He called the abbot to come receive the item. When the abbot arrived, though greeting him respectfully, the abbot then called for his disciple to help. The disciples were extremely tall. They were over 190 centimeters tall. Even Tho had to look up at him. When Tho opened the back of the truck, the abbot climbed up and stood in front of the clock. He pressed his hands together and began chanting. Then he took a key from his belt and opened a compartment of the clock. Inside, there were indeed a holy scripture, sealed properly. But then, he took out something else, a bundle of hair. Tho was startled. The abbot noticed and said, "Don't be alarmed. This is elephant tail hair. In Thai belief, this is often used as a charm for luck." After removing the item, the abbot told his disciple to carry the clock down. Earlier, it had taken 4 or 5 people to lift it. But these 2 men lifted it effortlessly. They carried it to the riverside. The abbot began chanting again. Then he struck at the back of the clock 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. Then he said, "All right, throw it." The disciple then threw the clock into the river. Tho was confused. He had driven over 500 kilometers just to throw it into the water. Why not simply send the item instead? But he didn't ask. His job was done. Before leaving, he made merit at the temple. Then, as he was reversing the truck, a temple boy helped guide him. Suddenly the boy shouted, "Hey! What did you hit?" Tho quickly got out to check. Near the rear wheel, something was stuck, covered in dirt. When he cleaned it away, he saw it. The head of a statue, about the size of a fist. It looked like the head of a police statue. At that moment, he understood right away what happened. He got back into the truck and asked, "Mui, what did you use to block the wheel last night?" Mui replied casually, "I couldn't find a rock, so I used a statue. It was the right size." Tho was speechless. He removed the statue head and kept it with him. At first, he planned to return it to the shrine, but when he passed by again, he saw her, the same woman, but this time, she didn't look hostile. She looked calm, but still, Tho couldn't bring himself to stop. He thought maybe he should make merit first, and then replace it properly later. Meanwhile, Mui keeps saying, "Hey Tho, did you see her? Did you see her?" When they get back home, Tho told him, "You need to go make merit. You disrespect them." Mui replied, "They already came to scare me, and I still have to make merit?" But eventually he did. That night Tho had a dream. He saw the same woman. This time she wasn't frightening. She said, "I know you didn't mean it, but please replace it for my child." The next day Tho immediately went to buy a new statue, a bigger one, so that no one would take it again. And that is the end of the story. If you want to know more about these stories, because as you know, there is some mystery that you may want to know about the clock, about the older man who paid Tho to deliver the clock. And maybe do you want to know a little bit more about this friend of him, Mui? That how can he be so carefree about the supernatural stuff? If you want to know more, I will find the story to tell you in the future episode. But for today, thank you for listening. If you have any comment, please do so. If you like it, please like and subscribe to see my future episode. And for tonight, that's all. Thank you for listening. Sleep well.